Good evening, everyone. It's Janet over at Emerald Gypsy Arts. Today I'd like to do some doodling. This is my doodling journal. And doodles to me are things that I do on a day when I'm stressed. I'm not one of those people that's really good at them, so I tend to do them just to relieve stress and stuff. Now, today isn't one of those days. I'm not stressed. Nothing's going on. But I thought maybe we could do some doodling together. And I'm talking not about this type of thing, which I absolutely love to do, especially sitting watching a movie or something. I'll sit and doodle the line doodles like that. That's one of my favorites. Yeah, I'll do the line doodles and stuff, but it's these doodles that I'm talking about. Falling watercolor is what I call them. They're for no particular reason except they remind me of cliff faces, you know, the face of cliffs with waterfalls and stuff. This is one of my favorites. Oh, another line drawing. That's not finished. I think that's just started. And then yellow, blue, and aqua. Yellow, blue, greeny colors. Yellow, orange, red colors. They sort of stay in a grouping of colors. Now, I remember doing this page in preparation for doing one of these doodles, but I want to do something in a little tighter color situation. So we'll jump a page just to get a clean white page going. And you are free to either spray the page or work dry. I prefer just a little bit of moisture on my page for these. And then we'll start with a nice, very loose brush, and we'll pick up some purple. I love purple. And there are times when you could almost close your eyes and do this right. Almost close your eyes and do it right. Because the less you try to paint it, the better off it'll work. Better off it'll work. Okay, let's go in and grab some darker blue. And you let them run out if possible. Off the brush, I mean. Don't go back for more paint too quickly. Let yourself run out towards the end of the stroke, so that you have lots of lovely color on the page. And let's add another color. What shall we add? How about some pink? Pink is always awesome. And with these pictures, it doesn't matter. I mean, normally with watercolor, we go from lightest to darkest. But in this case, it doesn't matter if you go to the lightest and pick up more paint, or, you know, it doesn't matter at this point in time. Even these spots that are overlapping that create a third color in between two are valuable to this type of doodling. And it's some of my favorite type of doodling. Okay, what other color shall we pick up here? Oh, how about a light blue? Yeah. And my pup is scratching for the water dish. Beanie, come here. Come sit down, baby. I'll be with you in a moment. Okay. Now, I might pick up one more color. Bean, come here. Now, come on. Good boy. What a good boy you are. He's a good little boy. Awesome dog, actually. Oh, how about a little bit of brighter green? That would look very pretty in this. That adds a bit right there. Now, if you want to go back and fill in some of the spaces, because what you're going to end up doing, like the samples I showed you, is outlining each of the color sections as part of the doodle. There, I think that works. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put this under the dryer for just a minute. See, remember I told you my favorite dryer is the little nail dryer? Love this thing. It works perfectly for this kind of thing. It'll only be a minute. And yeah, these are the most fun doodles. I like the line drawing doodles too, but I have to be sitting, oh, kind of paying attention. This, you apply the paint, you know, just however you want. Like I said, the less planned it is, the better it ends up looking. Because this is truly about random doodling, randomness on your page, if that makes any sense at all. So I will put these brushes away. I need to get some more water brushes. Definitely. And I will pull out a 0.08 Sigma micron archival ink, which is wonderful. It lasts and lasts and lasts. I mean, the name says it. It sits in the archives of a museum or a library, and it just lasts. It doesn't dry out. It doesn't fade. It's just wonderful. So I'm going to be using a 0.8 micron drawing pen. So whatever pen you use, just make sure that you're comfortable with it and it's fairly free-flowing. I tried a ballpoint pen once for this, and I got to tell you, my absolute favorite is a dip pen, a pen and ink. Not even my fountain pen, but my actual dip pen, you know, pen and ink. But it ends up, the lines are a little thick. I made very thin paint spots in this. You can make the paint spots as thick as you want or as thin as you want. Like you saw in the other examples, you can make them, whoops, going the wrong way. You can make them small, like bigger pieces of color, and you'll always have little small ones if you overlap two colors. You'll always have bits of small and large pieces of color. So I really, this is smaller pieces of color, so I'm going to use the micron pen rather than the dip pen, because the dip pen, sometimes the ink just kind of, and I would incorporate it into my picture. But oh, speaking of which, if you joined me at all last night for my sped up junk journal page, I had it so that there was a piece of writing on it that said something about flowers are the nature's words, and I still love that phrase, but I didn't like the way it sat, so I changed it. I lifted, because you can lift some things off of this glue mixture. You can actually, if you do layers, you can actually lift it, and you see it lifted well, even off of the this paper here is school notebook paper that's from the 1930s here in Canada. So, and I found this in my text box, so I love that phrase with the picture. It works. I added some stamping, and I really love the page now. But I did not like that big piece of writing covering up all this lovely old penmanship and so on. I didn't like it. It was overpowering to the page. And really, really, folks, you can change pages. If you don't like things on a piece of your art journaling or your junk journaling or your doodling, you can change it. Come on, Bean, up here. Come here. Now, let's go. Good boy. You can change things. You don't have to live with anything per se. You can change it because you can put something over it. My daughter had suggested, if it wasn't going to lift properly, she had suggested cutting that out and using it as a see-through, you know, a window kind of thing, which was an excellent idea. But I do love this phrase, And this to me now is, I just love this page now. So yeah, you can correct things, you can, but you don't have to tear pages out and stuff like that. So while that's drying, give me 1 minute and I'm gonna go give my impatient dog some water. There we go. Now he's happy. I'm happy. We're all happy. Okay, so this should be nicely dry, and it is. Doesn't work at all if it's at all not dry, especially with markers like this, with the Sigma markers and so on. So basically, to do this doodling, it couldn't be any easier. And the more you do it, the more places you see. At first, you might only see one color in this patch, and then you'll realize that it's more than one color. For example, this piece here, just above the purple, is that big, and then there's a little piece there, and this comes out here. And don't keep your lines nice and smooth unless it really is a smooth part. Even those white pieces are part of the overall. And you just keep going through and outlining each piece of color. And when you do it, it can be so satisfying. And then, like I said, you find more and more. Like that streak was blue, but on this half, it's bluer than this half that sits over the green. So we have to treat it as two separate pieces because it's two separate colors. And it may seem simple to some folks, but to me, this is just a wonderful way to have a cup of tea and do some doodling. I love this. And I use them sometimes for my background. Sometimes I incorporate a picture like I did with the one with the eye. This one here. So yeah, you can do all kinds of things. And this here, the circles were caused because when I was doing the eye, I splashed green paint. I deliberately splashed green paint, and it ended up leaving all these wonderful green circles that I outlined as well. I just love how this can turn out, because you really can't know until you're done, you know. Like this looks all blue, but it's not. It's actually two separate shades of blue. So it's up to you how detailed you want to get, and how much time you have, and how much you're enjoying the experience. Because seriously, people, if you're not enjoying the art you do, then don't do it. Because art is something that should be felt. I mean, when you're doing the art that you love, you feel it. So if you're not feeling it, and it's not a commission piece that you've gotten a deposit for or been paid for already, then don't do it. Let it go, cover it up, go back to it another day. That's why I often will write something in my personal journal, and then I'll paste a picture over it. I'll read it through a couple of times, and then I'll take a picture I love and just paste it right over it. Not so it flips up, although sometimes I do that. But I'll paste a picture directly over, like paste it right down there, so I don't have to read it again. I wrote it. I know what's under there, and it got it out of my soul, or out of my off my mind, you know, that kind of thing. So once it's there, I know it's there, and I got it out of the, you know, out of the mind, and freed myself from it. But okay, so this is basically the process. I will show you my page once I'm finished in the one of the next videos or so at some point, and you know, feel free to keep on going, and to have some fun, and to try it different ways, and see what you like to do, see what your color schemes are, and then use it for the background for something, some journaling or something like that. These ones done very dark can look absolutely gorgeous with white pen outlining everything. If you do it in darker tones of blue and Payne's gray and things like that, then you end up getting some really beautiful white lines, and it's very pretty, very pretty. So that is watercolor waterfalls for me. My type of doodling. I love that, and I will see you all on the next video.